Hello, my name is Siegfried Trent, and today I am here to talk about, are socks really pan-dimensional beings that use clothes dryers to travel between universes? Well, this question comes from my father, Goodwin Trent, and he and I share a love of absurdism. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and Monty Python are both right in our wheelhouse, Weird Al Yankovic and anything else. So this question comes from a sort of a Dadaist, absurdist view of the universe, which I think, let's talk about that first, I enjoy because it sparks the imagination, gets us to think outside the box, and it's funny because it flies in the face of, I don't know, it's the whack upside the head of the normal way of looking at the world. You shift perspectives, suddenly things can make a totally different sense in a totally different light, so I don't know, I think it's good mental exercise and I enjoy it quite a bit. However, I don't know, how do we approach this question? I mean, this video series is kind of my views on the way things are or what they should be, and I'm going to try to address each question in the most direct way possible. So, I don't think socks are pan-dimensional beings. They are socks, so far as I can tell. I just don't have any evidence. I suppose this question comes from the idea that when you put socks in the dryer, and usually you have a pair of socks, but sometimes you only get one that comes out. So where did the other ones go? And maybe every once in a blue moon, you find a sock that is not your sock. And you're like, how did this sock get into my laundry? And so we come up with a story, in this case that they are pan-dimensional beings, and are using the clothes dryer as a means to transport themselves from one place to another. In this case, between universes. Interesting. I don't know where that part particularly comes from, but when we think of transdimensionalism, I guess we think of each dimension as being another universe. We can talk about folded warp space. I mean, there's a lot of really interesting science that leads to these kinds of ideas. Anyway, why do we have the socks? I think a more natural explanation is we focus on the dryer because that's when we fold and process and organize the stuff that comes out. When we bring things out of the washing machine, it's just a big lump and we basically throw it into the dryer. We don't count what's in there, pay attention to it. So it's quite possible we lost the sock in the washing machine. It just stayed behind. Socks are small. They're probably the smallest piece of clothing we normally wash. They also have the unique property of being in pairs. We don't wash a lot of gloves, so it's the only thing that we're going to notice a match or a mismatch from. And as far as ones appearing that we didn't have before, that's probably if we are using a shared laundry of some kind. They're small. They could stay in there from somebody's previous wash and end up in your wash, and then suddenly they're part of your collection. So that's the rational explanation, which I would tend to go with. But I don't know, let's embrace the sense of imagination and think about them. Oh, one more rational thing, I'm sorry, but you know, we didn't always use clothes dryers in order to wash socks, so somehow these pan-dimensional beings, until the invention of the clothes dryer, were forced to hang outside on the laundry, and I'm guessing they got lost a lot less often because we had to wash each individual piece of clothing one at a time and then hang them up, and it's a lot less likely that things get lost in the shuffle, as it were. So, and interestingly, in Japan here, people do not have clothes dryers, generally speaking. Some people do, but it's very unusual. Most people hang dry their clothes either on the balcony of their home or apartment, or sometimes inside the bathroom, or in our case, in our bedroom. We'll hang them up and dry them. So, not many clothes dryers here. A lot less pan-dimensional existence, which I think categorically looks bad for the socks. But, okay, let's say they are pan-dimensional beings. The socks, what kind of lives are they living? Why are they using our dryers in order to transport to other dimensions? I would say largely because they want to escape from our stinky, nasty-ass feet. That would be one. No, my feet aren't particularly stinky. My wife feels I have princess feet. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not. They are kind of smooth and silky, a little less so as I get older. But also the sweat on my feet is pretty vicious and has been known to deteriorate socks quickly. That might also be the sheer size and volume of my feet, which are a bit big for most socks. So I don't know. The socks have a hard time. I could understand completely if they wanted to escape this reality, at least for a brief time. What are they doing in other dimensions? Living more fulfilling lives, I would hope. Maybe complaining about all of us and what kind of feet we have or the type of laundry detergent we use. There are many possibilities. So if you want to write a story about pan-dimensional socks and their lives in other universes as they travel to and from, have fantastic adventures, please be my guest. Maybe I'll do it myself sometime, but unfortunately, I think there's probably not a lot of truth to the claim. All right, that's it.